Very good evening. Jai Shri Krishna Guru. Thank you for joining the Bhagavad Gita Satsang, the way of life as described by Lord Shri Krishna to Arjuna. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha, Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha, Om Shri Saraswataya Namaha, Om Shri Guru Dattatreya Namaha, Om Shri Mahalakshmi Namaha, Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Today we'll be beginning with a new chapter, that is chapter 3. Chapter 3 entitled Karmayoga, or the Yoga of Action. And today Lord Shri Krishna is going to impart the importance of the performance of duty in a detached way according to both the Jnana Yoga and Karma Yoga. And that is what he's going to be teaching to Arjuna. So let us learn what Lord Shri Krishna has to teach. Chapter 3, verse 1. Arjuna said, Krishna, if you consider knowledge is superior to action, why then do you urge me to this dreadful action? Keshava, how beautiful. Isn't that a question that we all of us have? Why should I do this? Why am I supposed to do this? Why am I put into this? These are the questions which we all have within ourselves. Let me tell you, even I do have many a time the same question. I ask my Guruji, why am I supposed to do this? I don't want to do. So Arjuna's question is very valid, and let us see what Lord Shri Krishna is going to answer to him. I'll read this verse once again. Arjuna said, Krishna, if you consider knowledge as superior to action, why then do you urge me to this dreadful action? Keshava, you are, as it were, puzzling my mind by these seemingly conflicting expressions. Therefore, tell me the one definite discipline by which I may obtain the highest good. Don't you say this when your mentor, your gurus or preceptor, whoever is teaching you, your mind is not able to understand what they are trying to teach you. So like Arjuna, we also say, I'm confused. I don't know what you're telling me. I can't understand. This is exactly the words we also use in our life. So what is Arjuna saying? You are, as it were, puzzling my mind by these seemingly conflicting expressions. What has happened? The entire chapter 2, after Shri Krishna has expressed to him everything, Arjuna is even more confused now. He doesn't know what to do. So he's saying, puzzling my mind by these seemingly conflicting expressions. Therefore, tell me that one definite discipline by which I may obtain the highest good. So he's telling me, please tell me that one thing, one definite discipline by doing which I will obtain the highest good. So it's like if you have journeyed under the tutelage of a real master and you have studied under him or continuing to learn, you will come across this question very often. You will find, what is my guru telling me? I don't seem to understand. Every time he keeps giving me conflicting answers or expressions, and I'm confused even more. It's quite puzzling. I don't understand. And I'm going to go back to him and say, look, I didn't understand what you were telling me. Could you please explain to me? And then when the explanation is given, then we say we are further confused. And that's exactly what even Arjuna is going to tell Lord Shri Krishna. But let us first learn what Lord Shri Krishna is going to answer to Arjuna. Shri Bhagavan said, Arjuna, in this world, 2 courses of sadhana, that is spiritual discipline, have been enunciated by me in the past. In the case of the Sankhya Yogi, the sadhana proceeds along the path of knowledge, whereas in the case of the Karma Yogi, it proceeds along the path of action. So what is now Lord Shri Krishna telling Arjuna? He's saying, look Arjuna, in this world 2 courses of sadhana, that is spiritual discipline, has been enunciated by me in the past. So here Lord Shri Krishna is saying something very beautiful. He's saying enunciated by me in the past means what? He's saying that, look, I'm not just teaching you in this life of yours. I've been coming and teaching the same thing over and over again. That means this knowledge has been imparted to Arjuna even in his previous births. But why is that Arjuna can't remember anything? That is because when you're born as a human body, when you have a human body, that birth, you forget everything. So nobody's given an idea about their past, not their present or the future, so that you don't stop the destiny. So you will be able to perform your actions so that the destiny can be fulfilled. That is the most important lesson, reason why we have never been given an understanding about our past, neither our present or the future, what is going to be come about. So that we don't, stop destiny from progressing. We don't stop the world from progressing ahead. Now, in the case of Sankhya Yogi, the sadhana proceeds along the path of knowledge. So what is Lord Shri Krishna telling? In the case of Sankhya Yogi, the path, that is the sadhana means practice, proceeds along the path of knowledge. So he has to use the knowledge, he has to understand through the path of knowledge. He is only gaining the knowledge and then understanding and then evolving on that path. Whereas in the case of Karma Yogi, it proceeds along the path of action. So for a Karma Yogi, what is important? He has to perform his duty. In fact, in the previous chapter, Lord Shri Krishna has very clearly explained. What did he explain to Arjuna? He gave him the knowledge and then he told him that you have to perform selfless action. A Karma Yogi's job is that you do your duties born of your karma and you do selfless action. That is why we say Nishkama Karma, which means you're not bothered about the end result. Your focus is not towards what are the outcomes. Planning alone is your right. Doing your work alone is your duty or your right. But you don't have the, you cannot have an attachment to the fruits of that action. And neither you are the cause of the fruit of that action or the end result. Please remember, you are none of those. Anyway, the universe or whatever that has been programmed has programmed it that way. So how can you stop destiny from happening? How can you say the progress shouldn't happen? If there are certain favorable events or unfavorable events, that has already, it's written. The storyline has already been written. So how can you say, I'm not going to play my part? You have to play your part to the highest of your ability, God-given abilities. So you can't say that I'm not going to fight in this war of Mahabharata. But that is important. You have been the chosen one to fight that war. You are the Arjuna and who has to go towards the victory. And who's driving your chariot? Lord Shri Krishna himself. Where there is Krishna and Arjuna, can there be any failure? Of course not. There is always victory, righteousness, goodness and glory prevailing. That is what Lord Shri Krishna also tells. But Arjuna doesn't understand till the 18th chapter, because here he spoke about, I am puzzled. I don't know. Your expression, the conflicting expressions has puzzled me further. That is what he's saying. It's exactly how you feel. I don't understand what my guru is talking. I don't know what he's telling me. I don't know what I'm supposed to do this. I don't know. I'm confused. That's exactly what happens. So now he started explaining to Arjuna, saying, look, I'm not coming and teaching you this. Even in the past, I have enunciated the same thing. The same knowledge has been imparted. So he's given what is the requirement of the sadhana or discipline for Sankhya Yogi and the Karma Yogi. So let us proceed ahead. So verse 4, man does not attain freedom from action, that is culmination of the discipline of action, without entering upon action, nor does he reach perfection, that is culmination of discipline of knowledge, merely by ceasing to act. Oh my God. This is very, very profound, but let me go very slowly here and explain to you what is he telling. He's saying, Lord Shri Krishna is saying to Arjuna, man does not attain freedom from action. What does that mean? That is culmination of the discipline of action, without entering upon action. So if you do not, if you want freedom, man does not attain the freedom from action. That is culmination of the discipline of action without entering upon action. What does it mean? See, till the time you don't go and perform your duties, you cannot attain freedom. There's no freedom for you from that action, because your duties have to be performed. You have to fulfill the duties for which you have born as that human being. You have taken that human birth and your job is to do your duties. You cannot escape from your duties. No way. So he's saying man cannot attain freedom. Man does not attain freedom from action. So why is this that you can't attain freedom from action? Because the culmination of the discipline of action without entering upon action cannot happen at all. Nor does he reach perfection. What does that mean? Nor does he reach perfection, which means culmination of the discipline of knowledge. What does culmination mean? The fructification of that knowledge has to happen. That likewise in the culmination, the fructification of your discipline of action means what? That has to fructify. So you have to, at the end of the day, achieve by performing that action. How do you achieve freedom? Is by finishing, performing that action of yours. You cannot say, no, I don't want to do. Don't want to do, like my Guruji will say, don't want to do ka sawal hi nahi aata. Means the question doesn't arise at all. You can't say that because you have to perform, whether you like it or not. Whether it is a threat, whether it is a force, whether you say, I don't want to do, I'm not going to do it. You can give n number of reasons. You say, I will walk out of this. But please remember one very important lesson. You can't escape from this, whatever that you have signed up for. If not for this life, you will have to come back in the next life and to continue from where you have stopped. So do you have a choice? The choice doesn't exist. We think we have a choice. We think we are free. We think we have the right to take decisions, make the choice that which our mind tells. But what happens if you take the choice which your mind is telling you to? If you walk out of your duty, what happens to you? You will incur sin, and then your destiny takes over your entire life, which means you have to suffer a miserable existence. Why do you need that? But here, when you're serving the purpose of the divine Lord, then there is no karma accruing to you. All the sins are eliminated because you're serving the divine Lord's purpose. You're going on the path of your swadharma, and this is what we don't understand. We always keep giving excuses. Why? Because following certain things is not acceptable to us. Example, I'll give you my own example. My Guruji will always teach me, he'll continue to teach me. He says, sometimes you have to be, not sometimes, all the time he'll say, you have to be very tolerant towards people. So what happens is that even when somebody is, committing certain errors, certain mistakes, they're talking in a certain manner, he says, you don't behave like them. You cannot yell back at them. He says, you have to be very soft, you have to still be polite and be nice to them, because that position demands. See, today to becoming, a mediocre leader or below average leader is very easy, because they are available dime a dozen in this world. There is no dearth for such kind of leaders in our world. But to become a great leader, to become that goddess and, lead this world, being compassionate, being kind and generous and filled with goodness, that is very difficult. So my Guruji will teach me, even if you have to reprimand somebody, do it very sweetly. Don't be tough. He says this. He teaches the same thing to me. But many a time, what happens, you do exercise that self-restraint and control, but sometimes you do fail to live that lesson because it's very tough. And when you know that the people, they get onto your nerves or trying to test your limits and patience, you lose it at that moment. And since if you don't speak to them sternly, that job is never going to get done. But my Guruji's way of method is that, no, you have to have all the patience in the world to ensure that you get what you want. Sometimes sweet talks doesn't work, but it's not necessary that you have to, be harsh with people. It's not about being harsh or being rude or being tough. It's about, you have to say the same thing in a much more, softer tone. Like he'll say, you don't have to be aggressive. You have to be assertive. That's the difference between being aggressive and assertive. Assertiveness is what is required and not aggressive. Aggressive attitude can push away people. That's exactly what he teaches. Because, one of the challenge, if somebody wants to do something, if you're a go-getter, you have two ways to adapt to being that go-getter. One is either being aggressive, which is going to sometimes, it's not, going to help you all the time. That method can push people away. But when you're assertive, you're just making your point, in such a way that the other person doesn't feel that you're being too harsh. So it's just a tonal change. But sometimes we don't adapt to that tonal change and we just this is the way I am and this is how I will function. But that doesn't work. So my Guruji will keep teaching me, you got to be very, you have to wear a kid glove and teach people. You have to repeat the same thing 100 times. You need to have the patience, because being a great leader is not a joke. And at that time I wonder, why do I need to do this? The question, like Arjuna is asking, I'm already confused. I don't want to. Why do I waste my energy, my time and everything towards some people who don't even want to change in their own world? What is that I have to go teach them? Or why should I do this? But what we don't realize or understand, which is what Lord Sri Krishna is teaching here, that you don't have a choice to say that I don't want to do. He says this discipline has already been explained to me in the past also. I'm repeating the same thing again. So he's saying freedom from action cannot come till the point you don't go and perform your duties. You have to do it. So who do you think you are to tell that, oh, I'm not going to go and fight? You can't tell. Arjuna, you're a warrior. We are in the war field. And you're telling me that you don't want to fight? This is exactly what happens to me. Every single time when my Guruji keeps telling me, no, you got to do this, you have to become this. Sometimes it feels, not sometimes, all the time it feels, I don't want to do. Why am I supposed to do this? And then, what does my innermost being say? The only reason why I want to do is because my Gurudev has been an amazing being. It's very difficult to have, him in my world. I'm very fortunate. I feel blessed. So in what way can I repay to him for all that what he has done to me? That's the only thing that I can do is, do service unto the lotus feet of the Divine Lord and this world. The only way to repay or offer Guru Dakshina to my Gurudev is by doing his job in this world, serving his purpose. And by serving the world, I serve him. So what happens if I don't like the world, if I don't want to, do it for the world? The only thing that I do is I see him in everybody. That's a very easy way to make your mind shut off to people and only think about him. When you think about that goal and for who you're doing, then it doesn't affect you. So I am not bothered about how the world behaves, what they say, what they don't say. It's none of my concern. My job is to do alone. So why? Because I am serving my Lord. I am serving the purpose of my Krishna Guruji, my Krishna Ma, the greatest thing ever that has happened to me, who has made me who I am today and who I will be tomorrow. If not for him, I will not be able to sit in this, this position or this place and be able to expound on this most beautiful scripture of all time. Today, this is a great learning for myself because I'm getting the same knowledge. I'm also learning along with you. So it doesn't happen. And I don't have knowledge. See, knowledge is universal. This knowledge is not mine. I don't own knowledge, by the way. I can only learn. I can imbibe, I can absorb whatever is taught to me. Knowledge comes when you go with when you go with humility, when you go with humbleness, when you actually seek for that knowledge will come to you. But please remember, you don't own any knowledge. It's not about feeling, oh, I know it all. Nobody can know it all. You can only, like Adi Shankaracharya, he was explaining to his disciples that only a drop of water, that's the knowledge you can have. Adi Shankaracharya, he's an avatar of Lord Shivji. He's talking like this. So imagine, who am I? How can I say this body even has any knowledge at all? Nobody has knowledge. Knowledge is universal. Knowledge is divine alone. We are only an instrument in the hands of the Divine Lord. The words are of his wisdom. I don't have this knowledge, neither the wisdom. It is him alone. So then how do I look at it? So my way of looking at it is, it's a Guru Dakshina to my Gurudev. I have to do everything he asks me to do in this world for the good well-being of this entire universe, the people around, for myself, the world, everybody. So we become the servant of the Divine Lord. We are here to do service unto the humankind. Why? Because this goodness has to be spread. We have to be able to establish that knowledge within those who are seeking it. So carrying forward that good things in this world is very important. So it doesn't matter about how people behave, what they do, what they don't do. I don't have to look at that aspect. My goal is very clear. Who am I doing this for? I am the servant of the Divine Lord. I am serving my Krishna Guruji. It is my Guru Dakshina to him. When this attitude comes, when you understand there is a higher purpose, and when that is for a higher cause and a purpose, then you will not say, I will not do it. But remember, 100 times or 1,000,000 times in your mind is going to say, why do you need? You just don't have to do it. You just walk out of it. What is it doing? It is instigating you against the Divine Lord. It is, putting an obstacle on your path from you going towards the Swadharma, from you performing your duties. So the mind is always going to put that obstacle. And then what happens? Then you're going to be confused. You're going to be upset. You're not going to be able to perform. And then like Arjuna, 18 chapters, till the time where Krishna is going to, at a gunpoint tell him, if you fail to listen to me now and don't do your duties, you will anyways have to still perform the same action. Born of your own nature. And as though mounted on a machine, my universe will make you work. My universe will make you do the same action, but when you do at that time, you will incur karma. So why do you need to incur karma? That's a question you have to ask. So the Lord is very nicely saying, freedom from action doesn't come till the culmination of the discipline of action happens. Without entering upon action, how do you get the culmination of the discipline of action without entering upon the action? Which is means what? You have to do your duties. Nishkama karma is very important. This is all about Karma Yoga. In the entire chapter, Lord Shri Krishna is going to discuss with you how do you work in this world. You don't have a choice to say, I don't like, I don't want to, I cannot, I will not. You can bring as many negatives as possible, but at the end of the day, you are still going to do the same action born out of your own karma and duties. Same thing without entering upon action. So nor does he reach perfection, that is culmination of discipline of knowledge, merely cease to act. So what does that mean? See, the knowledge has been imparted to you, nor does he reach perfection. How can you attain perfection if the culmination of the discipline of knowledge doesn't happen merely by ceasing to act? The culmination of knowledge will not happen. If you say, I am not going to act. See, knowledge has been imparted to Arjuna, but if you don't apply that knowledge, how will the culmination of knowledge happen? The fructification of knowledge is never going to happen. So how will you understand the lesson? Till the time you don't physically act. Act is a must. The word is action, act, perform. Everything is about doership. It is only about doing. So what is the Lord Shri Krishna teaching Arjuna? Arjuna, please lift your bow and arrow and shoot. Why are you wasting my time as well as yours and everybody else? But does Arjuna ever listen? No. You and me are that Arjuna who don't want to listen, who don't want to do. The doership is missing from us. That's exactly what Lord Shri Krishna also tells Arjuna. Even at that time, see, imagine, he's telling him, before itself I have explained, now again I am doing this. Even in the past I had done the same thing. So what do you think? I'm coming again and again to teach the same thing. But a human being, this Arjuna doesn't learn. What to do with him? Does it mean Lord Shri Krishna is giving up on him? Of course not. Every single day he'll teach. I feel sometimes very sad, looking at my Krishna Guruji. Every morning he'll give some lesson or the other. And every single day he's pushing you towards that path, towards that destination, so that you can work faster and faster. I'll tell him one thing, look, I don't know what you're doing right now or what you're saying. Why you're doing also, I don't know. But I just know one thing. I cannot fathom your ways. And I will not question your methods, because nobody can question how the Guru teaches everybody. And it is unfathomable. But whatever you're doing, I know it is for our good alone. That's all. So I have that faith in him. But if you ask me whether I like the methods that you use, no, maybe not. Maybe sometimes yes, sometimes no. Depends. But again, I'm not even going to have the choice. I will accept in every capacity the way you'll teach, and I will learn in that manner. I'm never going to question your methods, because only you know what is best. Because you're not a normal teacher. You're God yourself. So only the God knows what is good for everybody and how this world can progress. How will we do things? In what way, you should teach us. Not the way I think I want to learn. That is my mind's ask, right? I can't go tell a teacher how he should teach me. Then I will never learn in my life. I cannot tell my Guruji, your method is wrong. No. I'm sorry, he is the greatest master that exists on this planet Earth. He's the master of the universe. He knows everyone, everybody, everything, because everything is born of him. He knows every being's past, present, and the future. So only he knows how do you impart that knowledge. So I'll not question him on that. But so having this understanding, I just, shut up. I tell my mind, stop, just listen. So that's the way I try to control myself. And that's exactly what Lord Shri Krishna is saying. This control, you have to be you need to control your mind. You be controlled. You have the self-control. That is what Lord Shri Krishna teaches to Arjuna. And then he also says, you need to have self-restraint, restraining your senses from reacting. That's again a very important thing. And don't judge. See, when you serve everybody, as in a detached manner, what does that mean? See, we are performing a nishkama karma, a selfless action. The motivation is not about, oh, I am doing this because I have to get something from this. I am doing this because I want to one up the person. there are many reasons why you will want to do, but having no reasons, but only having a reason that I am doing service to my Gurudev, I am his servant, that servitor, that bhav. When you adapt that bhav and say, I'm going to fight this war for my Gurudev, it is my Guru Dakshina to him, I'm going to be his best weapon, I'm going to be the best tool in his hands of the Divine Lord. When you have that, bhav or that goal in mind, then nothing will affect you. And you will be able to give your highest productivity and efficiency. You will perform to the highest of your abilities. That's the kind of performance you will be able to deliver. But if you're looking at a person and an individual thinking that you're working for that person or you're working because of him, then you will never able to give that performance. Please remember, your goal has to be the higher goal, not a lower goal. And when I serve the world, I am serving my God. That conviction, when it comes, then you're not going to be bothered at all. So please remember, the culmination of the discipline of knowledge merely by ceasing to act means not does he reach the perfection, because the culmination of discipline of knowledge doesn't happen merely by ceasing to act. So let us continue the next verse. Surely none can ever remain inactive even for a moment. Oh my God. What is this Lord Sri Krishna telling? He's saying, surely none can remain inactive even for a moment, for everyone is helplessly driven to action by modes of Prakriti, nature-born qualities. Aha. Now a new entry has come. Who is coming? It's called Prakriti, the modes of Prakriti. Let us understand what does it mean. Surely none can ever remain inactive even for a moment. So what does that tell you? If you are born a human being, you have certain set of duties. Every individual have their own duties. And if you say you're not going to do, you can't be just sitting and doing nothing. You cannot even be inactive. My Guruji was giving a very nice example to one of his disciples. This disciple of his wanted to become a musician. Now he wanted to learn music. So my Guruji always gives this understanding to anybody, okay, in their own field. So he'll first say, how do you become a musician? First you have to, do the groundwork. It's not about having a nice studio, then I'm going to buy all the equipments, and then only I'm going to start becoming a musician. Doesn't work. First you have to start from gathering the knowledge. What are the different things the musicians do? You have to go listen to them. You have to, if music is your passion, you have to listen to different singers, players, and how they have done, how they have journeyed. Understand what are the things that you have to practice every day. You have to spend every day few hours for doing your riyaz, or playing the instruments that you want to perfect in. So there's so much that goes on. It's a lot of effort. What is all about? It's all about action. You cannot just say, it's a lip service saying that, you can't talk in the air saying I want to become a musician, but I'm not going to invest time in first practicing, first gathering knowledge. What is missing here? The right knowledge. And so you have to first gather that knowledge, that which is going to enable you to go on that path. And then you have to give time to yourself every single day to practice. And the next, what is most important? Sadhana. So where is your sadhana? Where is your practice? And then you have to start putting efforts towards that direction, so that you can at least be able to play a little better or sing a little better. So till the time you don't get to that, don't drive yourself to doing that, how are you going to become a musician? Musician is just a lofty goal. Do you know what it takes to become somebody great in any profession? It's a long drawn process, and you have to put in a lot of effort, arduous effort, and every single day you have to work towards that destination. But if you just say in the air and say, okay, I will do it tomorrow, day after tomorrow, and I'm busy, I'm procrastinating, and I'm not getting up in time, I will wake up at 11 a.m., 12 a.m., then I will have something called brunch, because you can't eat breakfast at 12 o'clock. So you'll say, I will eat both breakfast and lunch together. Is that how the world has been designed? Is that what Lord Sri Krishna is teaching? Of course not. He's teaching about disciplining, which means you have to wake up at a certain time, you have to do certain, ablutions at a certain hour, you have to eat in time, you have to do things in time. What is he saying? None can ever remain inactive even for a moment. But here we want to do nothing and waste our day. We want to just laze in our bed and watch some crap on, Netflix, Amazon, whatever, internet, browse, go watch reels, get lost in the social media nonsense, waste our time. How are you being productive? Are you really doing any action? No, you're not doing. If you can't help yourself, how can you help the world? So what kind of an example are you setting? Imagine tomorrow when you're married, you have children. Their future has to be good, and you should be the role model for them. And if you're setting up a bad example, and if you give yourself excuses, how will you then make your children very good? This is exactly what my Guruji was teaching today. He's saying, how will you teach? An example to me he gave is, if you have to be the best teacher in the world, if you have to set an example, you have to become perfect. You have to, have the highest discipline. You have to drive yourself. Because tomorrow you can't be relaxed. You can't miss, waking up even for a day. If you miss, then people will say, oh, look, she is not getting up. What is she teaching? That's exactly what people will talk. That's how they will talk. So you have to be very good. This is exactly how Lord Sri Krishna, teaches everybody, even Arjuna. So my Guruji is a perfect example. Nobody can point at him, because he's ahead of everybody. He's so good in his job. Sometimes I wonder, how do you perform like this? You're like, interesting machine. It's like you do so much. You're like, it's like an autopilot, and you keep doing so perfectly. To match your perfection it's way beyond, to a normal human being to reach that level of perfection. Even I'm 13 years old now. 12 years finished, and even after 12 years, sometimes it becomes really hard to overcoming the limitations of this body. Why? Because we are attached to the body, mind, senses. We have never, learned to control. We have never trained to discipline our mind. We have never, made efforts to control our senses from, going and dwelling into the sense objects or getting attached to those objects. We have never trained. We have not exercised the self-restraint. We have not put in enough efforts to understand how not to get swayed between the pairs of opposite, how to attain equanimity of mind. None of this we have ever practiced. Yeah, knowledge has been given, but till the time you don't act, you're not going to understand. The fructification of the knowledge doesn't happen. So he's saying, surely none can ever remain inactive for a moment also. So you can't remain inactive. My Guruji will give this perfect example. He'll say, look at the sun, look at this whole nature. They work in clockwork precision. Has the sun ever said that, oh, today I'm tired, I'm going to go on a leave? Imagine the sun talking like this. But a very beautiful lesson in Srimad Bhagavatam. If you go listen to my Krishna Guruji's satsang on Srimad Bhagavatam, in one of the cantos where Lord Sri Krishna has beautifully explained, the sun rises or the wind blows, or everything, this universe works in clockwork precision because of the fear of the divine Lord. They all perform out of fear of the Lord. They work in a clockwork precision, but a human being takes it for granted. That's exactly what. But you know what? Our fear is not there. But what happens to us? We are then made to perforce perform the same action born of our nature, and as though mounted on a machine. And then we also have to perform at a gunpoint much later when you fail to listen. And then what happens is, what is the punishment that you have getting in? You're sanctioning yourself many, the cycle of birth and death, many more lives. You're sanctioning yourself rebirth. And I don't know how many rebirths that you're going to have. You're going to be born again and again. That is the punishment which will, happen if you don't perform. And that's something you're doing it. Nobody's doing it for you. And that is why we have to come and suffer in this world. And then it's very easy to blame God for all our wrongdoings. And right doings, we don't credit the God. No, we don't say, thank you, God. Thank you for making my life so beautiful. Thank you for giving me this. Thank you for taking care of my parents. Thank you for everything. We don't thank him for that. But something goes wrong. Oh, you are mean. You're bad. You don't give me. You give the world. It's very easy to accuse God and blame him. That's exactly how we behave. That's the human nature. But the universe, the nature, that mother nature, she works in clockwork precision. Everything happens in perfect timing and in such a synchronized manner. Why doesn't that happen with us? We are never in oneness with that, nature outside. Our nature and the nature outside has to be one. But both the clock operates in a different level. Why? Because we are not doing things in time. So we are never in the connect with the the nature outside. So when our nature and the universal nature, the mother nature, is in connect, everything works in favor of us, not against us. And this secret we don't understand. Why? Because we bring our mind, and the mind tells you it's okay, you don't have to do. Don't do it, please. Don't listen to your guru. Don't listen to Lord Shri Krishna. That's exactly what Arjuna's mind is saying. That's why he keeps raising those questions. For everyone is helplessly driven to action by modes of Prakriti, nature-born qualities, modes of Prakriti. What are the three modes of Prakriti? Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. So you can fall in any of the category, right? Whether you're, in this mode of Sattva or Rajas or Tamas. So whatever the qualities born of the modes of Prakriti, nature born qualities, and you will be doing exactly, you're driven to do exactly that. For everyone is helplessly driven. What does it mean? You don't have a choice. We think we have a choice, but we don't. That is the truth. We actually don't have a choice. So what is he saying? For everyone is helplessly driven to action, that you have to do. You're going to act whether you like it or not. You think you have a choice of not doing. But here, for everyone is helplessly driven to action by modes of Prakriti, that is nature-born qualities. Our own nature, our own tendencies, the qualities born of our own nature will make us perform the same action. What does that mean? Perforce perform the same action born of your nature. That is exactly what is going to happen to us. You can tell how much ever you want. I am not going to do this. Every single day it feels like, I don't want to do this. Why am I pushed into this? And today, I actually, I was very angry in the morning when I realized that, we have come back to the same place where we all began. And it hit me really hard. So I told my Guruji, in the month of May, it didn't seem like that, It was just I felt like there was a slight layer which I was not able to see through. And he said, didn't you understand? I said, no, that was not what you showed me. I thought it's going to be this. And I don't know. Now you have actually brought me back to the same juncture, the same point, the same place where it all began in 2013. We're back in time. That's how it works. You may try as much as you want, saying, I don't want to do it. You don't have a choice. You will have to end up doing the same thing which was told you to do in a very nice manner. Please do this. But now what happened? Born of my own nature, I have to perform the same action. This is exactly what he's teaching here. You don't have a choice. For everyone is helplessly driven to action by modes of Prakriti, nature-born qualities. Helplessly driven. Please underline this word. It's very important. We think we have a choice. We think we can control. We think we are, we can say no. We can say, I don't want to do. We'll say, I don't want to learn. I don't like this. I will walk out. We think we have a choice and a freedom. But he's saying here, for everyone is helplessly driven to action by modes of Prakriti. What does that tell you? You don't have a choice. And stop trying to running away from things. Imagine 2013 or 2014 to this date. We are in 2021, October. And we are back in the same, this year, 2021, year 2021. Exactly 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Exactly after 8 years. We're back in circle. We're back in time. Exactly where we all began. But yes, the team has changed. People have changed. But I remain. I'm the only one who exists here from that team who was there together. But I don't know. I can't say that the people who left and gone are not going to do that. Please remember, his words here is very clear. Anybody who has thought that they have left and gone or they might be doing anything, they will all have to come back to the same point, to the same point in time, and they will still be doing the same action, born of their nature born qualities. So why are you exercising a choice? Why do we give it into our mind saying, I don't want to do? So please give up this idea that you are not going to act. Remember, everybody has to act. Nobody can remain inactive. This is the Param Satya. Means what? Supreme truth. That is the universal truth. You can't remain inactive. If you are inactive, the Lord will bring something in your life so that you are doing or acting. Doing alone is your duty. Not, the fruit to the end result. You can't be attached to what is going to come about. You're not doing your task, remember, thinking about the end result. And if you do that, you will fail. Know that very well. So I hope you have understood this verse. I have emphasized. So nobody in this universe has a choice. Lord Shri Krishna is very clear. I didn't know why Arjuna didn't understand this right here. He's hinting everything. And I'm sure, his mind is clouded like us. So we don't want to listen to that. That is all it is. So let us continue. Verse 6. He who outwardly, restraining the organs of sense and action, sits mentally dwelling on the objects of senses, that man of deluded intellect is called a hypocrite. This is very interesting. I'm sure you would have come across many people like this. This is a very interesting thing Lord Shri Krishna is teaching Arjuna. He's saying, he who outwardly, restraining the organs of sense and action. So outwardly I might show, I'm not going to go and enjoy the food. I'm not going to wear nice clothes. I don't want the jewelry. I'm just showing outwardly. I'm restraining myself, okay? Sits mentally, but mentally I'm dwelling on the sense objects of senses. That man of deluded intellect, what is he called? Such a person is called man of a deluded intellect and is called a hypocrite. Hypocrisy. Have you seen hypocrite people in your life? Yeah. People will say one thing and exactly do the opposite of it. There are a lot of people, dime a dozen you can find. They are hypocrite to the core. They will say, no, I don't drink, I'm not like that. I'm a very nice person, but you just go figure out what they talk, what they do. They will do exactly opposite of that. There is no integrity in a person. They try to portray somebody who they are not. Have you come across all these kind of hypocrites? There's in Hindi, there's a very nice saying, khane ka daat alag hai, dikhane ka daat alag hai. Means what? The teeth that they use to eat is different from what they show out. It's a fake, it's a false perception that they create in the world, that trying to say they are somebody great. They are not. They'll say, oh, I follow these practices. I'm a very self-disciplined person and all. Go and see what they are inside. Absolutely, they will be, the most indisciplined being on planet Earth. And they will do everything. They tell the world what you should not do. Or they'll, portray themselves that they are not doing any of those things. But internally, in their mind, they're dwelling in that sense object. Such a person is called what? Hypocrite. And what kind of an intellect they have? Deluded intellect. How can you have an intellect which is going to then take you ahead on the path? It is never going to, unfortunately. Then you will be a deluded being. So you're living in a delusion which is created by themselves. So you're not truthful to that. You're not truthful as an individual. What does spirituality teaches us? First is you don't say lie. You accept your, all the limitations of the body. You first recognize it, that yes, you have these limitations. But what the spirituality teaches you is, how do you evolve on the path? How do you overcome those limitations? And you're truthful, not just to yourself, to the world around you. Because untruth doesn't work. Anything that gets started on the foundation of falsehood will crumble and fall. That temple will break. It will get destroyed. So everything has to be started on the path of dharma alone and truthfulness alone. You can't start anything with a self-deceit, conceit, falsehood, lies. No. But this is the kind of people, the one he's talking about, hypocrite. Outwardly they'll show, oh, I have controlled my organs of sense and action. Sits mentally, outwardly they are restraining themselves. They will not go do certain things just for creating that public image. But what happens? Sits mentally dwelling on the objects of senses. That man of deluded intellect is called a hypocrite. So hypocrisy thrives, especially in the Kali Yuga. Please remember, every human being that you come across is the biggest hypocrite. And don't go and fall for this superficial words they talk about. That's all fake. There's a falsehood in everything that they say. Untruth, lies is what they speak. So don't believe such people. And also, it's nothing to, you're not here to change them. Please remember, we are not here to change the world, but we are here to change ourselves. Because this knowledge is coming to you and me. So we have to work on it. It is not somebody outside. So when you understand this truth once again, you will not, you will understand this fake people in the world and you have to just stay away. That's why my Guruji will say, do not look at their negatives. Look at their strength, and we have to only use their strength, because every human being is a fallible creature, because His nature is fallible. He can't exercise the self-restraint. Even if he does, what happens? But in the mind, he's sitting and dwelling on the sense objects. Then what happens? Then you have never overcome. Then how can you be truthful? So the God inside you can never realize the God within you. You're going to still be a normal, ordinary human being, a mere mortal in this world. You can never become a divine being. And you can never do your swadharma. You cannot you cannot reach your swadharma. You will never even be able to understand what is your swadharma. That is what happens to such a person. So please don't be this person. Rise above and perform your duties in a detached manner. Do nishkama karma. So that is what we have begun. So I'm sure this chapter is going to be even more exciting than the path of knowledge, because now we have to act. Action is very important. So let us get ready for an action full of, movie, a movie which is full of action. And let us be the greatest actor in our world who does things and not just sits and does nothing. So we'll stop here today. Thank you for joining Sri Bhagavad Gita Satsang, the way of life as described by Lord Shri Krishna to Arjuna. Om Shri Mahaganapate Namaha. Om Shri Gurudev Datta. Om Shri Sachidananda Sadguru Sainath Maharaj Ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavade Vasudevaya. Digambara Digambara Shri Pad Vallabha Digambara. Om Shri Krishna Gurunathanataya Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Devi Durgaya Namaha. Om Shri Krishna Arpanam Namastu. Krishnam Bande Jagat Gurun.